One night, I was in a hurry. I had just finished a week-long business trip and was on my way to the house where my daughter was waiting for me. But here I noticed something. The house I saw was unlit, with an inexpressible sense of unease. I reached the front door.
Mom?
I heard my daughter's voice coming from a direction I did not expect it to hear. I turned around to find my daughter shivering in the kennel. Why are you there? Where's Daddy?
Daddy's gone.
What? Where did he go?
I don't know. He was on the phone with someone.
At this time, I was clearly aware of my anger toward my husband once again. Then my daughter said something strange.
Mom, are you okay? Eh?
Yeah, what? I suddenly turned my eyes to the kennel and felt uncomfortable. Immediately after, I could not help but scream. Because inside the kennel was, I am Emily, now 34 years old, living with my husband and daughter. My husband, James, and I have been married for less than a year. But I have a 10-year-old daughter. Because we were remarried, I met James through a pickup. Looking back on it now, if I had turned him down at that time, it probably wouldn't have happened. But at the time, I had not the slightest idea of such a thing. I'm sorry. I have children, so please find someone else.
That's fine.
What? I often met with pickups, as I said myself. When that happened, I would say, I have a child, and they would leave.
I don't mind if you have children.
I'm sorry. I ran away. What was that all about? I looked back, but he was not chasing me. Relieved, I hurried to my house, where my daughter waited. I'm home.
Welcome home.
She hugs me with a big smile on her face. This is no time for me to be distracted by men. I had to protect my daughter at all costs. It was that night. I was so surprised to hear from you. What's wrong?
How is Madison?
What? She's fine, but...
Do you have a nice man?
What's going on?
I'm worried. I think Madison needs a father.
I understood that my mother was saying this because she was worried about us. But what I felt was that it was a big favor. I'm busy with work right now. I think it's okay for the time being.
Really?
If I start to feel that way, I'll tell you.
Okay, you should come visit me sometime.
Yeah. After hanging up the phone, I let out a big sigh. I was feeling really tired, and it was true that I was busy at work. Just the other day, I got a promotion in recognition of the work I've been doing. Later that day, I was officially promoted to the position of section manager. On my way home,
Oh, I met you the other day.
he called out to me from behind and I turned around. I immediately knew who it was. Was it you again?
No, I just happened to see you.
Do you always do this?
No.
Really? For some reason, I was very friendly with him at that time. Perhaps I was a bit relaxed because of my promotion. We talked for about 10 minutes. Well, I'm leaving now.
Wait a minute. Can I have your contact information?
I'm sorry, I can't do that. And just as I was about to walk away,
Then take this.
James took out a notebook from his bag and started to write something. When he finished writing, he tore out the page and handed it to me. What's this?
This is my contact information. Please contact me if you like. Bye then.
With these words, he galloped off. I was stunned, but decided to go home for the time being. I put the piece of the page he gave me away in my desk. We never saw each other again. The next time we saw each other was a month later. What? Why? I said without thinking. The conference room was buzzing.
It's been a while. Thank you for the other day.
Oh yes. The other employees were also in an uproar, but James was able to get around them. James was the business partner of the client. After that, we managed to close the deal. After returning home, I called the contact number I kept in my desk. Hello,
Yes.
this is Emily. I was taken care of today.
Yo, you called me.
Well, thank you very much.
Not at all.
I'd like to thank you for,
Please never mind.
but I couldn't leave it at that. So I invited James to dinner. We went out to dinner later day, and I was surprised by James's seriousness. I found myself naturally attracted to James, and 2 weeks later we started dating. He also accepted my daughter Madison, and Madison adores James. It didn't take long for us to get married.
So I wish you all the best in the future.
My pleasure. I used to live in an apartment, but this is an opportunity to buy a house. The model house that was already there fit my image perfectly, so we bought it in my name. Seeing my daughter excited about our new home, I was also excited about our new life. However, such a life did not last long. Are you busy at work these days? You've been coming home late.
What? That's not true.
Because you've been coming home on the last train every day recently, haven't you? Then James sighs.
Well, there's a lot going on.
After that, he went out for work even on weekends and holidays. I was wondering if there was something wrong with him. One day at the office, Haley, one of my subordinates, approached me.
You seem a little gloomy lately. Is something wrong?
What? Nothing at all.
You don't look like that.
Really?
I can at least listen to what you want to say.
I had always had a quiet image for her in the department, but today I thought she was being very aggressive. I had no choice but to tell her that James was coming home late.
Oh, I see.
Her expression seemed to look down on me. The reason I recognize this is because I have discussed with many people in my life. As soon as they see that I am a woman, they give me the same look as Haley does now. It's a pattern that is almost always the same.
But I'm sure Emily will be fine. James is really just busy with work.
I agree. After I got home, I was preparing a meal. I was casually reminiscing about what happened at the office when I noticed something. I was thinking, how did she know his name? I never mentioned James's name to her. James comes in and out of our company as a business partner. However, Haley worked as a clerical worker, so they never had a chance to see each other. Could it be? No, I don't think so. I denied it in my mind with force, but no matter how much I tried to deny it, reality was not so sweet. After that, James would come home late at night, smelling like perfume.
I'm home. I'm going to bed.
Wait a minute.
What?
Where have you been?
That's just the job, of course.
Really? Because you smell strange.
No, it can't be.
He said, checking his clothes. That reaction means you know what I'm talking about.
You're noisy. You're talking nonsense.
From that day on, James's attitude toward me became the worst. But even in the midst of all this, healing comes. Well, let's talk to Dad about it, shall we?
Yes.
I waited for him to come home from work and talk to him about it. Since we were not talking much these days, I hoped this would be a good opportunity to improve our relationship. I need to talk to you about something, and I want you to listen to what Madison has to say.
Oh.
I want a dog.
A dog.
James crossed his arms and thought. The house, though small, had a yard, so the environment was conducive to keeping a dog.
You have to take care of it by yourself.
Yes.
My cold heart warmed up when I saw her smile. The next weekend, we went to the pet store and picked out a beagle puppy. We returned home with the puppy. But then a new problem arose.
What? You can't just let it in the house.
That's terrible. It's just a baby. You can't do that.
Then don't let it in the living room.
I had never talked about it before, but I thought it would be all right when he agreed. The beagle was named Chaco, and my daughter took care of it with unaccustomed hands. As it got bigger and bigger, he insisted that we take it outside. My daughter and I had no right to refuse. This was because we were afraid of James. More worries followed. I was going on a business trip to the countryside for a week. I'm going on a business trip next week for a week.
A business trip.
So please take care of Madison. James did not reply, as if he was thinking about something. Hey, are you listening to me?
I'm listening. You can count on me about Madison.
But his words were to be betrayed in the worst possible way. On this day, I was in a hurry after a week-long business trip. I was on my way to the house where my daughter was waiting for me. But here I noticed something. The house I saw in my eye was unlit, with an inexpressible sense of anxiety. I reached the front door.
Mom?
I heard my daughter's voice coming from a direction I did not expect it to hear. I turned around to find my daughter shivering in the kennel. I hugged her. Why are you there? Where's Daddy?
Daddy's gone.
Considering that no one was home, my daughter must have been left alone, not even in the house. What? Where did he go?
I don't know. He was on the phone with someone.
At this point, I clearly became aware once again of my anger toward my husband. Then my daughter said something strange.
Mom, are you okay? Eh?
Yeah, what?
Because Daddy said on the phone that he doesn't want Mommy, and that he has already took measures.
What does it mean? I didn't know what James was thinking. And there was one more thing that was bothering me. I suddenly turned my eyes to the kennel and felt something uncomfortable. What? Where's Chaco? Chaco, that was always supposed to jump on me when I came home. Didn't come out. Immediately after, I couldn't help but exclaim. Because what I found in the kennel was the worst thing I had ever seen. Why? Then my daughter begins to cry big tears. It was too cruel for my daughter, who had loved Chaco so much. I held Chaco in my arms from the kennel and went inside the house. I put a towel on the floor and laid it down there. Chaco was already cold, and it was not even twitching. I knew it was a terrible thing to ask my daughter, but I couldn't help but ask her what was going on. Do you know how long Choco has been like this?
I don't know, but I saw Dad giving something.
Given that it was running around fine before I left the house on a business trip, it is probably not any kind of illness. So I guess that James must have fed it something toxic. I looked at the Choco again and saw something on its mouth. On closer inspection, it turned out to be chocolate. Even if it was just a joke, it was terrible. I can't leave Choco like this.
What are we going to do?
Let's say goodbye so as to go to heaven. I immediately searched for a company that could cremate my pet. I found one that was available 24 hours a day and contacted them without hesitation. Half an hour later, the cremation truck arrived. Well then, let's say something to say goodbye for the last time. My daughter nodded silently. Thank you for everything. I hope you'll be happy in heaven.
Thank you for being my child.
After the cremation was over, we carefully placed the bones in a small urn and returned home. The two of us sat on the sofa and grieved over the death of our beloved dog. Yes. Are you hungry?
No, it's okay. I'm fine.
Yes. Certainly. I looked at the table and saw a piece of paper on it. I picked it up, wondering why I had not noticed it before. It said,
I can't do this with you, so get the hell out of my house. Oh, and I took care of that noisy dog. You should be grateful.
I clenched my fists in anger.
Mom, your hand.
Oh. I came to myself when my daughter called out to me. I looked at my hand and saw that I had a scar on my palm from a fingernail that had dug into my hand.
Are you all right?
Thank you. I'm fine. I have a question for Madison.
Yeah.
What do you think of Dad, Madison?
I hate Daddy.
That was an immediate answer. Now I could act without worrying. First, I changed the locks on the front door, the kitchen door, and everywhere else. Immediately after that, I contacted my mother and explained the situation.
What? Is that true?
It's all true. So I'm sorry, but can we come over there and count on you?
Of course. Come over here right now.
Thank you. We packed our bags with a change of clothes and other things and left the house. When we arrived at my parents' house, we were warmly welcomed by them.
So, what are you going to do from now?
Of course, I'm getting a divorce.
What's wrong?
I've been married twice, and this is how it's supposed to end.
What are you talking about? You didn't do anything wrong.
I knew my mother was strong. She is the only one who can dominate that stubborn father. I stayed at my parents' house for a week or so while I was working off my paycheck. I thought James would call me sooner or later, so I decided to do something about it. Then James called me several times.
Answer the phone quickly, will you?
What?
You changed the locks of the house.
Oh, that's it. I changed it in anticipation of your return. I'm sorry to hear that. That's my punishment for leaving Madison outside, and for the Choco.
Ew, you mean that dog? Is it dead?
I struggled to control my anger. Yes, you went the extra mile.
I see. Good for you.
He laughs without seeming to take offense. I didn't think he was this crazy.
Oh, by the way, are you still with that company?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Well, I guess it's only a matter of time before you get fired.
This is what my daughter told me on the day I returned from my business trip. James's affair partner was my subordinate, Haley. Moreover, she had embezzled money from the company and was planning to blame it on me. But on the contrary, Haley is the one who will be fired. That's too bad. It was too sloppy a plan. Besides, the top was suspicious of Haley to begin with.
I don't know anything about that.
Of course, you don't know anything about that. I've told the company about you. Why don't you look for a new job?
What about?
By the way, I'm going to ask my lawyer for a divorce. James had an unspoken voice, either confused or in a hurry to speak. And I forgot to mention that you won't be able to live in that house anymore.
Why?
Because I'm the owner of that house. That's why. See you. With that, I hung up the phone. It was clear what would happen to James. The next day, I immediately went to see a lawyer and arranged the divorce procedures. Incidentally, I recorded yesterday's phone conversation, which I used as the basis for filing a lawsuit against James for violating the animal welfare law. I think we're going to be able to work this out for now.
I see. Good work.
A week later, the divorce was finalized. Because I had taken measures in advance, my subordinates Haley and James were successfully fired. They have since moved in together, but both are now unemployed and living in dire straits. Furthermore, there are alimony payments to be made, so a decent life must be difficult. Well, this is just another self-inflicted wound, so there is no room for sympathy. From now on, my daughter Madison and I will lead a new life together. I have had enough of marriage, no matter what.